What's up everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for a recap of what went down on last week's episode of Married at First Sight. I apologize in advance. I'm not gonna have screenshots from the exact scenes because I'm running late. I'm headed off to brunch very soon, so I just wanted to get this recap up to you guys before I headed out. Now let's start off on a person by person basis. Karen can't hold hands with her husband. She can't hug him, she can't kiss him, she can't cuddle with him. She literally can't do nothing but ask this man to rub her feet all the damn time. To me, I'm like, you're kind of gross and weird. You know what I mean? It's like, it's more of like a romantic, intimate thing that like people want to do with people that they feel like loved and embraced by. But this girl does not give this man nothing but hold my foot and rub it. You know, she just comes off very selfish and irritating to me. And especially when Miles told the story of how there was all this laundry on one chair and then he had the couch and like a space next to him, and she decided to sit on top of the laundry or on the arm of the chair right next to the laundry rather than sit next to him to like eat or like, you know what I mean? I was like, really? You can't stand him that much, but you're the first person to have your foot ready for him to rub it? I don't know. She rubs me the wrong way, pun intended. I also don't understand how she expects Miles to feel protective of her, you know, when she's not at all affectionate. She literally calls him a stranger. She calls him kiddo. Like, she's constantly emasculating this guy. So why would he have that kind of instinct towards her? Like, she doesn't bring it out of him. She doesn't understand that he needs love and affection and nurturing in order to feel protective of her. I feel like that's kind of like a commonsensical thing, that men need that from a woman in order for them to feel like they're authentic, protect herself, you know? And then like he tries to tell her that each time whenever she brings it up, and all she's saying is, put me in my place. Like, what do you want? Like an Ike Turner? Like, come on. You know, she has a very dumb, I don't want to disrespect her view of relationships, but I want to say it's very simplistic. Like the comments she's been making about how, oh, he suffers from depression. I don't want that kind of a man. I want a strong man who's not emotional. Like, a little cringe, not gonna lie. And then rolling back to her point about wanting someone who puts her in her place, I'm starting to wonder, is that why she's constantly like antagonizing him so that he could blow up on her? You know, it seems like the only time she's ever been like happy or like, yes, excited about him was number one, when the therapist told her, let's put sex off the table until after decision day. She lit the F up. But outside of that, when Miles told her that he didn't know, like if decision day was today, I wouldn't want to be married to you. She was really happy that he told her that. So it seems like she wants like a toxic, I don't know if this guy wants me kind of love. And that's not what Miles wants to offer her, because Miles is an emotionally mature and stable man and she can't handle it. Now, flipping on over to Miles's best friend, Woody. I've always loved him, you guys, but I feel as though he showed us the ugly side to his personality this week when he talked about how he would leave Amani in the dust, not even hear an explanation, literally nothing, if she decided to say no on decision day. Like, he seems like the type of guy who's a lot of fun and exciting and loving and everything, just so long as everything is going the way he wants. But the instant you're not happy with something and you voice a concern about something, it's World War III, and he doesn't take too kindly to it. You know what I mean? I feel like, yes, he is a very wonderful, thoughtful, loving husband, but I also feel as though based on the way he spoke to her there and like cut her off and stuff like that, there's some darkness below the surface that we haven't even begun to scratch on quite yet, and that Amani is going to see one day in their relationship. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but I'm just saying he gave us a little bit of a preview of that. In his defense though, I noticed that Amani is constantly asking the same question like 10 different ways. Like, how would you feel if I said no? If I don't want this? What if this? Like negative, negative, negative. And like, I feel like that would tire anybody out after a certain amount of time. So, you know, I will give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt there and say, Amani, like, I know that maybe it's because they're coaching her to constantly say this to make us feel as though there might be a no, when we all know that they're madly in love with each other. But I'm just saying, it's a little annoying. Flipping on over to Bennett and Amelia. You guys know they've already worn out my welcome. I feel like they're so annoying and performative with their like weirdo act. And you know, like, I mean, a fake witch who couldn't even properly read her tarot cards. Really? Bennett's friend Thaddeus was so bitter and mean. Listen, I get being skeptical, but at this point, your friend is already married. Your friend is already in love. So you can voice your concerns in an empathetic way. But this guy basically to Bennett's face told him that his marriage was a joke, you know, that it was stupid, it didn't mean anything, like blah, blah, blah. And I didn't like his vibe at all. And I feel like he's not a good, like, I feel like it's good for friends to be honest with you. Don't get me wrong. But I feel as though his approach is very nasty and mean-spirited and not coming from a good place. I almost feel as though he's jealous that Bennett landed himself a doctor who's going to be rolling in the dough and allowing him to stay at home and do whatever he wants. You know, he's going to be a kept man. Maybe his friend is a little bit bitter about that. And oh my goodness, don't even get me started on Christina. I personally think she has a lot of underlying issues that she is masking with ADD. You know what I mean? Like between the perpetual lying that she seems to be proud of, the hysterical crying at very inappropriate moments, like, oh my God, Olivia doesn't get to eat fish. Oh my God, Henry says I'm a good writer, after she knows that she blackmailed him to compliment her, you know. And speaking of the actual blackmail and emotional manipulation of her husband, making up that big affair lie and stuff like that. Like, you know, these are not the things that normal people, in my opinion, do. But again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying that there seems to be a lot more than just ADD that is troubling Christina on an internal level. And it's uncomfortable, you know, especially that dinner scene when she was crying because Henry sarcastically told her that he was a good writer, when we all know, when watching the episode, that he thought her letter was a complete joke. You know, she's like, I can't believe you said that, thank you. And she never really even has real tears. Like this time she mustered 2, but she rarely actually has any kind of tears. It's all just very fake and weird. I do have to say though that I wish that Henry would have confronted her about all of the lies and stuff like that, but I get it. We're not all confrontational people. I certainly am not. I don't know what I would do if I were in that situation, especially with cameras and stuff, and already knowing that this person is a little unstable and willing to say anything to disparage your reputation on air. I think, you know, maybe he did do the right thing by waiting until decision day in the face of the experts who can help back him up to confront Christina. And lastly, Brett and Olivia's appearance, in my opinion, was so unnecessary and cringeworthy this episode. Like, Brett was as obnoxious and insufferable as he's always been when he was grabbing lunch with his friend. I just don't like his personality. I don't like his humor. I get dry humor. I get sarcasm. I love that stuff. But I think he's just unlikable, and I think that he's just rude, and he claims that it's sarcasm. You know what I mean? Like, even his own friend didn't seem to like him. I was like, damn. I can't imagine being Brett watching this back over, because basically all the friend said about him was, listen, I'm not surprised marriage didn't work out for Brett because he's insensitive, he's a selfish prick, and who only sees things from his own point of view, and, you know, he's got a very sharp tongue that hurts others. And he's never considerate about that. Like, you know, I guess he doesn't apologize for hurting people or whatever. He can't see how he hurts people. And so he just continues on his rampage with his very like off-putting personality and hopes to find someone who will put up with it one day, I guess. And then on the flip side, Olivia seems like the type of person who feels as though any old warm body will do. She just wants to call someone her husband, and she just wants to convince herself that she's in love with someone, anyone, in my opinion. And that was illustrated when her friend was like, you know, like if Brett wanted to kind of try to reconcile, you know, how would you feel about that? What would you say? What would you do? Olivia's face lit up, and she's like, oh, I mean, I would hear him out. I would consider it. I'd be open. And I was like, girl, this man just left you out of the blue. You know what I mean? After all the crap he put you through, he didn't even like have the decency to communicate with you before leaving the house. You came home shocked to find an empty house in the middle of a pandemic with no damn food, not even salt. You know what I mean? Like, this man left you with nothing. Then when you called him to confront him about leaving you to starve and die at home all alone, what does he tell you? Oh yeah, I forgot the coffee pot. He's obviously selfish and not a good partner to have. You know what I mean? And you're obviously incompatible on a fundamental level in terms of finances, how you want to spend your finances, children. You don't seem to want kids. He desperately wants kids. So why would you be open to hearing him out? You know, like, you're not getting any younger, just like Brett said. So you need to be with someone who is actually compatible with you versus trying to force a circle into a square, you know? Anyway, guys, those are just my thoughts for what went down on last week's episode of Married at First Sight. But as usual, I'm more excited to hear what you have to say about everything. So please make sure to let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. and we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.